The Herbert W. Armstrong College Choral Union performed the Song of Songs oratorio at Armstrong Auditorium on April 7th. Song of Songs portrays a husband calling back his wayward bride. This symbolically represents God's relationship with His people.
My name is Ryan Malone, and I direct the musical activities here at Herbert W. Armstrong College, and I'm also the composer for Song of Songs. There's something universal about so much of what's in the Bible. You know, the human stories, the human history that's there, what people have gone through, and whether they believe in one thing or another, there are things that are universal. There's something deeply meaningful to me about Song of Songs, and what I think and what I believe personally that God was trying to do through Solomon when he wrote those lyrics, and what application it has to our day right now. There's something I personally believe that represents, that fuels me. But I think it's something that's also relatable, that anyone can say, look, if there's a husband who's trying to woo back someone who's forgotten what it was like when they first were together, that's relatable. And whether you believe that as a God to His people kind of relationship, or whether you can see it on a more direct human relationship type level.
I'm Corinne Eagle, and I sang soprano in the Song of Songs performance. I felt it was about the singer representing Jesus Christ, singing to His people, represented by His bride, and just conveying His love to them. I felt there were moments in there where it was being conveyed, if you've made mistakes or you've turned away, if you would turn back, that love is always there. It's always there, and it's very strong, and it's overwhelmingly beautiful to understand that. As the work progresses, you see the bride or His people realizing the depth of that love and appreciating it and turning back to Him and being very excited for Him to come back.
My name is Paula Malone, and I was the soprano soloist for Song of Songs. Well, I love it when he composes. The first thing he will do anytime he has a project, either Mr. Fleury's assigned him or he's just working on something on his own, is he does a tremendous amount of research and Bible study. And then he will start to write the lyrics. And it needs to be, metered and in a poetic verse. It's like these serious word puzzles for him. And he does a great deal of it in this prayer closet on his knees, and he'll just come out and say, hey, I've got, it might be on a napkin, it might be on anything, I've got it. Sometimes he's sitting at the dining room table and he's just deep in thought and concentration. You just don't talk to him because he won't even hear you. He's so deep in trying to find the perfect word for that spot. But then once he gets it done, he'll go and he'll sit at the piano and he'll start to work out the melodies. And sometimes the bouts of inspiration will hit him in the middle of the night. He's gotten up out of bed and goes sit at the piano. Sometimes he can do it during the 8 to 5 time work period day too. And he doesn't like anyone in there. He likes the door closed. He likes to be alone with in his own world. Of course, I can hear through the walls, and it's wonderful, but he doesn't like to focus on that. But as soon as he's finished, he will always come straight to me and say, I got something to play for you. And I don't care if I'm cooking dinner, whatever I'm doing, I turn it off, I immediately go and I sit down, and he sings to me the first viewing of all of his glorious songs.
Whenever you're composing something and something's been in your head and you want to get it down on paper so that it can be put into a vehicle where other people can hear what you're excited about. Like any chef or any cook is like, I've made this food, now someone please eat it, So I think there's something very special about when you can put those thoughts down on paper in a way that others can translate them into what their instrument does, and then they have to translate it to what the ear sitting out in the seats will hear and how they take it in. To me, that's an extremely exciting moment in any composition, whether you're talking about this one or anything, that there's finally that vehicle to share this creation that's been going on really pretty internally to that point.
My name is Mark Jenkins. I'm the Assistant Music Director for the Philadelphia Church of God. As one of my duties, I conduct the Herbert W. Armstrong College Choral Union, which is the 60-voice group that performed Song of Songs. We had 23 rehearsals of 2 hours each. I asked them to practice about 4 to 5 times a week, about a half hour, so that would roughly double their rehearsal time. You could add that up. Every choir member probably put about 100 hours into the project. So if I say 100 hours a person, 60 people, you got a 6,000-hour project just with the choir.
My name is Christy McCarty. I sang soprano in the Song of Songs Choral Union. Having been involved in musical performances on this stage before, and having been under Mr. Jenkins and Mr. Malone's direction, one thing they emphasize to us is facial expression. It makes the performance, the words, the text much more believable for the audience.
My name is Justin Yoakam, and I sang the baritone part for the Song of Songs performance. One thing that was really stressed in our rehearsals and in our practices each week was not so much nailing our part, which was a part of it, but listening to other parts as we sang, and which was awesome because we did the entire piece in mixed position, because you're hearing the entire chord there instead of just your part.
I'm Connor Brown. I sang tenor in Song of Songs production as well as 2 solos. The whole piece is rhythmically pretty complex. It makes the music feel more like the spoken word, kind of the same reason a lot of times they'll use mixed meter. It mimics the rhythms of speech a little more, and it's less predictable.
The music itself, the choral music, is gorgeous. And just sitting in there with the rehearsals and just listening to the parts was a treat. There were times I just closed my eyes and listened if our part wasn't practicing. And it was very, very beautiful, and it was meant to be, to convey the message behind it.
I loved working with the strings that just added just this beautiful color and an underpinning for everything.
I attended the first performance of Song of Songs, and I've listened to the music regularly since. Having the strings behind the music, it just added a depth of emotion that I had never felt before with Song of Songs, and it just made it much more moving for me.
Just to see the people's reactions, because you are watching the conductor, but every now and then maybe when you aren't singing a part, you might glance out to the audience and just see them really locked into what you're saying was really, really nice, and just see that, wow, it's affecting them. And there's a certain way that people sit up in their seats and really pay attention, and that's really awesome to see that you are getting that across.
To be allowed to sing God's words to God's people, I can't think about it too long because I get very emotional. So it's the greatest honor of my life to get to do this, honestly.
During the performance, I especially enjoyed the finale piece, the last song, Make Haste, My Beloved. That's just incorporated so much of all the themes of the book and the message into one song. I remember thinking, actually during that song, we've put all these months of practice in, and we're almost finished, and I'm just going to enjoy this last song, this last performance, because it's so happy and exciting, and I especially enjoyed that.